guess the topic is gonna be the representation or people bitching about things. I don't know. Let's see where we go from here. But let's introduce ourselves, everybody. I'm the anime hero. I'm just here to listen. So everyone else introduce themselves.
I'm Falcon, Mr. Falcon Punch 996. People are just bitches. Damn, that's hard. That's hardcore, Falcon. And I'm Bond the Stampede, as you may know or don't know. And yeah, you're right. People are bitch-made bitches. That's what they are.
I'm John Anime. That's it. I don't have anything else.
And I'm Zoro, and I'm tired.
Tired of these bitch-ass bitches. I thought you were going for a rant. Like,
So I guess the topic tonight is just going to be about, race and representing race in forms of media, whether film, animation, movies, or film and movies are the same thing. Oops. And
So speaking of which, there is this article that just came out about the Death Note, where the producers actually came out and said they didn't cast Asian people because they can't speak English.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You're telling me that there are no Asian/American, Asian American descent that speak perfect English?
No. So exactly, when you hear me speak English, it's because you guys are just being nice, and your brain is rerouting it into thinking I'm speaking perfect English. When in fact,
my English is fucked up.
In fact,
Yeah, we didn't want to say anything. But...
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm looking at this face value at the moment, but like the title of the article is Netflix's Death Note was whitewashed because Asian actors couldn't quote unquote speak perfect English.
Oh my god.
I actually read that.
Man, all they protest, man. I'll be hurt.
But the producer is that, what is it? Who played the role of Hiro Nakamura on Heroes. So he's the one producing the show, and he is an Asian actor.
Oh, he could hook up a few Asians with the role of Death Note. Come on now. He's become public enemy.
Yeah. Oh man.
Traitor. Yeah, that's some traitor shit right there. Damn.
They shouldn't have not said shit. They should have said everything.
No, they just want
I would let it slide.
No, they just want publicity after the the whole Ghost in the Shell incident. So yeah.
Well, go ahead.
All I was gonna say for like Death Note, they could have used elements of Death Note and just say, oh yeah, it's connected with the universe, but we're not focusing on Ella. These are two different people having the Death Note. That would have been perfect.
Well,
instead of just
well, the explanation they gave was a little more different because the article says now people are accusing us for whitewashing, but they said it's not whitewashing because this is the reason. Because it'd be different if it was set in Japan, but this is set in in America, and it's not Light Yagami, it's Light Turner. Which to me sort of sounds like, isn't that the whitewashing already?
That's the whitewashing already.
Dragon Ball. Dude, I'm getting an evolution vibe out of that mess.
Fucking Christ, just rename your characters. It'll be okay. Everybody would pass. Go ahead.
So, before we talk about any of this, I just kind of want to make it clear that the opinions of Asian people in Asia has nothing to do with how Asian Americans feel in America. And the reason being is because you have a lot of Japanese people being like, well, I don't understand why Asian Americans would be mad about that. And the reason why they don't understand is because Asian Americans are American. We don't have a home country to go to. This is our home country, right? So they don't, but Japanese people who usually live even long term in another country still see themselves normally, proudly, as a foreigner in that country. And then any person who lives in Japan, too, they identify that person as a foreigner in their country. So they're they're unaware of the fact, America's kind of different, right? We're not we're very different. It's just we're all immigrants. We all come to a place, and this is our home. So they don't understand why some Asian Americans would want the representation. So before we get into like, well, you know, Japanese people think it's okay. Well, it's like, of course they would, because they don't care about that kind of thing in the same way that Asian Americans would. So, but anyway, go ahead, continue.
Basically, it's because they don't live over here. That's the reason why.
Yeah, they don't have the same problems, you know, race, religion, blah blah blah. So yeah.
Yeah, no, but they don't get it. So like let me say this. So like I personally was not traumatized or affected by lack of representation in American television. I probably should have, but like I think I did a good job of making sure that I paid attention to other things, you know. But I'm raising 2 Asian American children in this country. Right now they have dual citizenship for Japan and America. They both are living with both American culture and Japanese culture. So she watches a lot of Japanese TV. She gets enough representation, or what I thought, you know, from there. However, when she watches like American programs, and she was watching like this one Netflix cartoon show called Sarah and Duck, which is a super cute animation, by the way. And then there was this Japanese character on Sarah and Duck, and she just flipped her shit, and she was like, "Oh my god, it's a Japanese person!" And then I realized, after watching her just freak out about it, that pretty sure white children don't freak out when they see a white kid to like a children's TV show. So I think even though it doesn't personally affect you in the way that it hasn't personally affected me, I can't deny that it does affect some other people for the lack of representation in a certain way. I don't think that, like, you know, to make amends that virtually all shows should be like all Asian or all like black people or whatever. Like, it depends on the show, I think. However, if you're just going to go out of your way to not cast people of color, I think that's when it becomes a problem. And I think the discussion there is like, since none of the people, or most of the critics, are not involved in the process, like there's just a lot of speculation. And I guess that's what we're going to talk about today, yeah? About like how that happens. So anyway, go for it. That's
Well said. No, I mean, considering, you know, especially from the trailer, which I wasn't the hugest fan of, I don't know, I think the show's going to be a bust. I think the show's going to be...
Oh no!
Look very
Really?
good. Doesn't look very good. I mean, I can't say it's the trailer. Who knows? It could be a great show. But, I don't know, I'm not really getting... I'm just not feeling the vibe of, staying true to the source material. I'm not getting a Death Note type vibe. I just don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out, I guess.
I guess, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I you definitely brought up some really good points. Especially considering that, you don't necessarily have to fill quotas, but when there's discrimination, that's when things are problems. That's where problems arise. I don't think every show has to have, like, okay, there's got to be 30% this, 20% that, you know.
I agree. Yeah.
At that point, you're just, you know what I'm saying, you're not hiring the best actors necessarily, you're just kind of filling you know, you're just kind of, like, checking off certain demographics at that point. It's just not going to normally result in quality.
I don't know anything about the casting process, but I wonder if just never specifying what ethnicity the characters are would probably make it better for, like, producers to cast, like, different people, you know, if they just have it open. Because I know a lot of actors normally only apply to what is classified ethnically for a character. Like, for example, I do have some Asian American actor friends who only apply to Asian American roles and stuff for typecasting and stuff, where I wonder if that problem would be solved if they just kind of said it doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, just cast for, you know, try and get cast for this role. I wonder if that would help. But I don't know anything about the process, so I could just be speaking out my butt here.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what's in the mind of the people that make these shows, what their audiences, or what do they call it, the test audiences think, or what they're trying to market, or that's probably what their decisions come from. I don't know. Either way, they really, you know, I just feel like there needs to be a little bit more of an understanding of just, just because someone looks like this, therefore, doesn't mean they're not marketable. Doesn't mean they're not. I just feel like that people at the top, they're probably just thinking about money and they're scared to hire some people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if you remember shows from like the early 90s and late 80s, there's people of color in movies all the time, like way more than there is now. And of course, back then it was because, like people of color were hip and they were cool and they sold more. But then they also did a study saying that like shows that have more people of color actually do better financially than those that have an all-white cast. So if they are thinking about money...
I've actually heard the opposite nowadays, because I've heard that, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but when there are films with like a black actor that's the lead, when it comes to Asian American...
Oh, the lead! Yeah, okay.
Asian American countries can be very racist for black...
Not can be. They are racist. Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of the markets nowadays is selling, or these movies are overseas. That they want them to have great opening days and whatnot. And China is a big market, and a lot of the Asian markets are very big markets. So they're scared to hire because of that.
So that is a good point, because I do remember when I was in Japan that I did have a middle-aged man tell me. I was with a Hispanic woman at the time, and we went to their family barbecue. And so he was like, asking my Hispanic friend, like, where are you from? And she's like, oh, I'm American. And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, no, she is. Like, almost half of, like, Americans look like me or her. They're American. And he straight up was like, no, you can't. And he's like, so don't ever tell us Japanese people that. He doesn't represent all Japanese people, but he was being honest. And he's like, because when we think Americans, we want to think, like, blonde hair, blue eyes, just beautiful, like, white people. The moment that you tell us that you're American, you're kind of crushing our Hollywood dream of that. So you do have a point that there is probably that selling point of like, oh, this is what American is or what you think is American, so we're going to sell it for you. Okay.
So that's the one thing where I feel like, people are scared to really, it's all about money, and that's really disheartening, to see that they're reacting in that way. Like, just because people have that perception doesn't mean you should, like, perpetuate that.
Yeah, as an Hispanic person who just heard that, my heart died a little inside.
Yeah. But that was just one man, right? That said that. It got super quiet at that barbecue after he said that, and everybody else was just like, like they didn't. I don't think they exactly agreed with him or whatever. But he, yeah.
Why didn't he just shut up, man? Just would accept it, like, okay. And that would.
Yeah, but I don't know. Me and Shinobu have these conversations all the time. He also thinks that it has a lot to do with Japan being the losing country in the World War II.
Oh, yeah. Like, also I want to ask that guy who asked her that question, like, is he from an older generation?
He is, yeah. So I would say probably now he's at least in his 50s or 60s.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so he still might kind of adopt that kind of older thinking. And, well, he was talking about, like, how, because, like, that sentiment of being the country that lost the war, they do kind of see themselves as kind of, I don't know if this is the correct word, but inferior or losers in comparison to the winning country. So they're more willing to, like, yield, to what they had seen as the winner or something. And so, like, although a lot of people may not see it that way, like, we were talking about that it's, like, probably a huge part, plays a huge role in why they're just like, no, white people, best. So.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Death Note, though. I have something that's kind of an unpopular opinion, and I'm sorry, I know I'm dominating this conversation. But I actually don't like the casting of Light in the Japanese version or the American version so far. And I shouldn't say that about the American version so far because it hasn't come out yet. And the reason why, because in the comic he's supposed to be this super suave, like, person. And then for the Japanese version, they just casted this eccentric, mousy-looking dude, and I was super...
That mousy-looking dude? Damn.
He was. He wasn't tall, and he just... they only casted him because he usually does those kind of weird roles, right? He was in Battle Royale and everything. I don't know the actor's name. I'm not good with names. But I so disappointed. And then, like, I remember watching one of the movies with him in it and being like, I'm not convinced. Light to me is supposed to be this, like, really charismatic, suave-looking person, and I just felt awkward all around with the Japanese stuff.
Maybe she should have been casted as L.
Well, basically, he has no sex whatsoever.
That's true. He should have been casted as L, but the person who played L was just, like, so much better L, too. But strangely better looking at the same time. But yeah, that would have been great if he was L.
The switch roles.
So, maybe that's why. They didn't want to cast, like, a super suave-looking L, or suave-looking Light, because there was a suave-looking L. I don't know.
That's weird. Both of them suave-looking in a weird kind of way.
Well, I mean, he was super popular and everything, and I know the actor that played L, like, he's usually, seen, like, as an idol or something.
Oh.
But the, American Light, I don't know, I'm not gonna get mad about that. I'm kind of excited that they casted, like, American actors for an conversion, mainly because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, they shouldn't whitewash it. But at the same time, it's like, but we have the Japanese movies, though. But I understand that those aren't, like, Asian American movies, and I think that's probably what people wanted. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, in my opinion, I guess, like, some people, like the reason why, like, Hollywood cast, like, a lot of white actors is, like, hey, is this person's gonna sell something? That's basically it. If their name or their skin ain't gonna sell anything, then they ain't gonna hire them. Also, another thing, Shot, that you was talking about also, I remember the Japanese poster of the Star Wars trailer where John Boyega, he was in the American, like, you know, the poster, but in the I think in the Chinese or the Japanese version, they kind of shrinked him down to size.
Yes, he was like front and center in the and then they took him.
Yeah, they took him down when they, like, shrunk him real small, so he was like, hey man, like, where'd he go? So, but to get back on topic with the Death Note, I'm kind of just like, whatever. This could be good or bad. I haven't really seen much, so I'm like, this. So it's like, it could be something like, I can't think of anything that was exported to Japan and was Americanized and was really good. Can't think of any, unless y'all can think of something. But
Wait, which way?
Ghost in the Shells.
Like, which way? Going from Japan to over
I
here?
know this movie was also whitewashed, but I'm gonna have to say I loved Wachowski's Brothers Speed Racer.
Oh.
I really liked that one.
I had a seizure going to see that, but it was
That
but
one was good.
Me too. Yeah. Well,
Well,
I took my hate on it. I thought it was good.
hey, one thing I want to say that it could be like Fits in the North Star.
Oh no. Yeah.
I'm just kidding here, but
Yeah,
go
no.
ahead.
Yeah, bust out a gun. That totally fits in the series. Oh no.
Never works.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like Hollywood just hasn't learned the fact. I mean, they're still scared. It's kind of like with comic book movies. At first, they were really shitty, and it took them a while to realize, like, you just need to put them. You just need to put them out there as faithfully and as real as possible.
I got an example. For
Also, great writing.
yeah. Sorry for cutting you off, but I
You also
forgot.
need a good director too.
I forgot an example for Kai. What he was asking for. I got the movie for you, Kai, already.
Oh God.
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
It's
guess
not
it was
anime.
inspired. Like, I mean, yeah, parts of it were.
Well, I mean, the whole ending was inspired by a Japanese movie that was from a manga called Lady Snowblood. So that's where, like, a lot of the heavy influence came from. The whole revenge.
Yeah.
All that.
Quentin Tarantino, man, he's so great. Like, he draws some inspiration from so many different places, and he's a really really smart, and he knows his movies. So he's not going to take different genres and do it at his service. He doesn't do that. But
Yeah, I think if you have something that, like, pays homage to it rather than, like, tries to take from it, like, I think it's I thought Kill Bill did that, where they paid homage to it more than like, oh, guess what? It's better now that a white woman's doing. Like, I didn't get that feeling from it at all. So,
No.
From Kill Bill, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I gotta say, with respect to what we were talking about earlier, I don't know. It's tricky. It's a tricky thing. I think that
So
if you just try to stick to the source material and be faithful, people are scared to do that. No, these studios are scared to. They feel like they need to like Americanize these shows, and it just comes across as like disrespect. Like, why do you need to change these characters' names and the appearances in their personalities? It just the story's good enough on its own that you don't need to change all these things or camp it or make it mainstream, which they were doing with comic book movies and other movies along those lines in the past, and that's why they weren't very good. But once they actually decided, okay, we're going to take a risk and try to do these things faithfully with people who care, people who know the source material, then they're going to come out the way you want them to. And we're just not there yet. It's still a niche thing. It's a very niche thing. But once you get somebody who actually cares and a studio that's willing to put some money up, I think eventually we'll get it. We're not quite there yet, though.
We're in the dark ages of anime live adaptation movies.
I really don't think that Death Note's going to be the one that breaks the mold.
No, I don't. I agree.
Well-
And the thing is, I kind of hope it would, because, like, I know that's the only way my parents would ever experience Death Note, so, like, I know they're probably going to watch it when it comes out. So,
Well, we're still waiting. We're still waiting for the Battle Angel Alita live action and see how that turns out.
Still waiting for that monster live action that's supposed to come out on HBO.
Oh, I know. I really want that monster.
It happened.
Just disappeared.
Yeah,
It's like, been going.
Yeah, it
really?
got canceled.
I think he's just waiting for a green light, and he's not getting it. So, but I hope he gets it. I'm pretty sure that would like freaking kill. So.
oh yeah, because it's not too like Japanese in nature that it'll be like put offish for some American audiences.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Tim is the only real Japanese character there.
Right.
I was talking with a friend yesterday. I think there's another thing that I think Americans don't realize. When you take something that's like from a different culture, the rules for localizing it and I guess censoring it are much more strict than if it was just American made.
Yeah.
And I don't know why exactly. I wonder if that's just kind of maybe a cultural pushback of rejecting anything that's from the outside, possibly, because I know like France and Germany does a lot of that as well, right?
Yeah.
So, but like for example, and I'm not going to mention from which game, this is not a Nintendo game, all right? But for example, you have like a Japanese character who happens to be female, and like she's referred to as overbearing because her character is just overbearing, and that's not even allowed. Like you can't even call a female overbearing.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm serious. Like I'm dead serious.
What game are we talking about?
I can't say, but I know for a fact.
Is it fertile?
What?
I don't know. I'm thinking of a Nintendo character who's
No,
gender.
what I'm saying is it's not a Nintendo game we're talking about. So
Oh.
I can see that for sure. So, but that's just an example, like, because a bunch of my translator friends always talk about this kind of thing too. And then I did some translation work as well, and I can't talk about exactly how it is, but you do have to change like certain things depending on like if something is too racy sometimes, and then like sometimes the client or the clients or whatever will ask you to change it to make it appropriate for an American audience, and then you kind of have to take some stuff out. So, or just change it to where it's just like still racy but appropriate. I don't know.
So I have a quick question about that.
Go for it.
Sorry to get off topic. I just have to ask. Like, is like the censoring much more stricter now, especially in Japan?
The censoring is stricter when it comes to America. I mean, so that's why you see outfit changes in some games. like in many games coming from Japan and stuff that would be appropriate. I was listening to, for example, I was listening to a podcast of a Japanese astrophysicist or something that works for NASA, and so he lives and works in America now, and he was saying that he quickly realized that almost everything that he would say culturally, that he would comfortably say in Japan, would never be politically correct here, and so he had to learn really quickly on what not to say to his coworkers. So, for example, he was trying to describe a supernova, and, like, basically a supernova happens when you have, like, one large mass that's, like, really old, this energy, ball of energy kind of thing, and then it, like, you know, a younger one will come into contact with that one, and then, like, they will collide and then create a supernova, and that's essentially how a supernova happens. But he told the joke of, like, yeah, just imagine if the older one was like an old man and he's been really lonely, and then this hot 20-year-old something comes by and he just explodes, like that's a supernova. And so he was saying that as a joke to kind of scientifically explain what would happen, but he said that joke never went well over with his coworkers, and so he had to, like, quickly adapt.
Why don't you ever tell that joke?
yeah. So I think it's just kind of the same thing, is that things that, you know, you would just never, I think with the people you're comfortable with, that you could say, but to a stranger, like, I think it just gets so, it's seen in such a different light that now you can't say shit anymore. So.
It's really weird. Yeah, I mean, going back to the point about movies and video games and how they're changed and how they're marketed, I just feel like the studios, I don't know, maybe they're right, maybe they're not, but they just make assumptions about the prejudices and the assumptions that other people, that the general public make, and they kind of overreact to it, and I feel like the results that we get are based on what they think people are going to react to in movies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of it's based on, I mean, to a certain degree, you have to understand there are a lot of people that are just plainly prejudiced and are not going to go see a movie if someone they don't like is on it. But at the same time, I feel like if the studios had the balls to really stand for something and just not go by the dollar and just say, look, you know, this is how the movie is. You got the best actors possible for it. Doesn't matter where they come from, who they are. I think eventually over time, I mean, people would become more used to it, and it wouldn't be such a big deal. But now I don't know. It just feels like they're reinforcing the prejudice because they're caving in to what they think people are going to react to, and I just feel like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's probably ridiculous now, especially so with anime being as mainstream as it is now. You can't really have the argument of, like, yeah, people can't relate to Asian people.
Yeah. That's why I brought up the comic book comparison, because that was the narrative about, 15, 20 years ago? Like, oh, comic book movies, no one likes this stuff. It's all weeaboos, it's all nerds in their basements. That mainstream audiences won't enjoy this kind of stuff. And then look every year, there's 5 superhero movies, and they're making all the money in the world. So it's just a part where it's just an example where they're really just behind where common sense. There would be so much money in making a really well made, proper live action adaptation for an anime film that's popular. Just think of it. Anything.
Did you guys talk about Ghost in the Shell already?
Yeah, kind of, but I don't know. It's like the conversation's kind of been done unless you have something else to add.
I don't have anything else to. I didn't watch the movie, but not because, like, I understand people were boycotting it. I will honestly say that I don't have any of those feelings or urge to boycott it. However, I did read, like, synopsises of the movie, and I was like, oh, why did they put it so that she's like an Asian woman in a white woman's body? That's should have left that part out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people talking about that. But meanwhile, I just never had an interest to watch the movie to begin with because I'm not a big Ghost in the Shell fan. So
yeah, same here.
Yeah, I didn't see there's somebody spoiled it for me. I was like, wow, this sounds like Get Out to me because her brain was trapped in her Asian brain was trapped in a white woman's body. So I was like,
No, but I don't mind.
Oh no! Don't spoil it, man. You can't spoil it.
No. I'm just saying, with the Ghost in the Shell.
It's over, Kai. It's over.
Sunk in place. That's all.
No, yeah, no. I've seen Get Out, so I know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Oh man.
Get Out is great, by the way. I heard if you ever watch Get Out, if you still can, you should always watch it in the theaters.
Yeah. Make sure you're dating somebody interracial too.
Did your theater, when you watched it, did they cheer?
Oh yeah. They. I went to like one of the ghetto's movie theaters ever, so that was a cool experience. Like, yeah, you take that, you white bitch.
Oh no.
That was awesome.
Messed up.
Oh no, it was cool because it was like some random white girl said it, so that was that.
So it's okay.
Oh yeah. That's a good movie.
I'm so behind on films.
Apparently, Get Well's doing really good for Japanese audiences, for the Japanese people who have seen it.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it's been doing pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it's already localized there, but for the Japanese people who have seen it and have talked on podcasts about it, they really like it. So
That's good. Feels like an episode of the Twilight Zone.
really messed up version.
Like, you're trying to do what with me?
We should do one on Get Out after everyone sees it. That would be really good.
I have never experienced that feeling before, but I had moments like that before.
Oh no. A lot of my black friends are getting jobs teaching English in Japan, and they always ask me, a lot. By a lot, I mean like the past 5 people who have asked me for advice have been like a Black American, and they were asking me, and all of them unanimously had the same question of like, am I gonna be okay over there? Because I know they're like really racist. And then I thought about it for a second, and I was like, well, yeah, you're gonna have racist people everywhere. However, you're not gonna get shot for being black in Japan. And they were like, oh. That's true.
Or be like, damn.
All the guns there, yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Like,
no guns
they
there.
don't have the Second Amendment over there.
Well, I mean, even the policemen don't have guns over there. So it's just like the only policemen that have guns in Japan are detectives, and even then, it's like 5 detectives that share one gun, and they have to sign off for it before going out the streets and stuff.
Also, I was reading. This might be outdated, so maybe you can fill me in on this shot. Is that are they even allowed to actually fire their guns or no?
Yes and no. I don't know, because the material that houses in buildings, especially houses in Japan that are made of, are not really sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very common for people to have cars and have them for like 3 years, and then it's actually cheaper to just get a new car after 3 or so years rather than just keep your old car and maintain it. And the reason why, there's several reasons for that. Because you are required by law in Japan to upkeep your car if you own a car, should you own a car, right? And usually the manufacturers will find every little thing that's wrong with it. So every time you take it into the shop, you're looking at $1,000 to $2,000 in repairs each time. So you have to set aside money twice a year for that kind of check. So it's similar to kind of our emissions test, but like way more thorough, and you are not allowed to be driving this car if you haven't done that, okay? So there's that. And then also, that's why you see a lot of like used Japanese cars for sale, but not a lot of new ones sometimes, right? Because all of those used ones come from Japan. So most people have like a car that's older than 3 years or something. Usually they're just always new. And then where was I going with this?
The gun. I was asking about the gun. They fired the gun.
The gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are they allowed to fire this gun? Right. So I was trying to talk about how it's not very sustainable in Japan. So the houses are kind of the same deal. Like usually if they're up for 10 or 15 years, they're made with materials that you can take down easily. because construction in Japan is done incredibly fast, and so they could probably like take down a whole house and like build an entirely new one within a week.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So, I mean, if you were to shoot a gun, and let's say you're in like a residential area, it would probably go through like 7 houses.
Do you want to know how? Do you want to know how many gun deaths there were in Japan a couple years ago compared to the United States?
How
Seven.
many?
7.
Dang.
Entire year.
What?
An entire year had 7 gun deaths, and that same year there was 35,000 gun deaths in the States.
Jeez.
A little bit of a disparity in the
Well, I
intelligence.
mean, it kind of helps that there's not that many guns over there.
Exactly.
Well, then again, they're a smaller country
Yeah.
too, so.
Which is weird because, I mean, the Yakuza are a thing there, right? Do they not use guns?
So, I've never seen a Yakuza pull out a gun, but, I don't know. I mean, I would assume they do have one. So they're usually, Yakuza, like, when I say organized crime, like, they're hella organized. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with a store there called, like, Don Quixote.
Heard of it before.
I think I've
But
heard of
it's
it, yeah.
kind of like this variety store. I would be totally up to believe, or I would totally believe if they told me it was run by Yakuza. Mainly because my friend's wallet got stolen at while we were shopping at a Don Quixote, and she was Canadian. And so the security guy, like the store security guard, brought us to the back room to like write a report. And then, like, 4 buff guys with tattoos all over came by and asked us what he looked like. And we described him, and then they ran out and basically, like, rattled everybody that was in the store that matched the description.
Yeah.
So,
They were squaring up with
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if they would even have to use a gun if they have, like, people like that.
Yeah.
I do know that, because the apartment that I lived in was in the Yakuza district of Nagoya, and there was one time that we would go shopping, and like you can tell whose house is a Yakuza house because their house would have like Hawaiian palm trees and a bunch of like super exotic plants in their gated yard, and stuff in their house was usually like 4 or 5 stories big. Like it was just. They was just really different, and they were all within the Yakuza district. And then also I did see, like all of them were in really clean suits, and they looked like businessmen, but they weren't because they did their hair a little bit differently, right? And they all lined up with their black BMWs, and they would all like stand by their own car and then bow. And then, like, the head Yakuza guy would walk to his car while they're all bowing. And then once he got in his car, they all stopped bowing, went in their car, and followed him. That's my only experience with Yakuza, which is, I don't know if you could call that experience, but just from my own observation. They're, like, a more clean-cut version of what we view as organized crime, I think. So...
badass though.
It was. I mean, we tried not to look them in the eye whenever we walked past one, but because they told us not to, like the locals. They were just like, yeah, just don't look at them.
Yeah, I've heard, like, if you ever, I don't know if anyone here has tattoos, but if you ever go to Japan, be careful. If you have tattoos, like, try to cover them up, because apparently that means, like, you're a Yakuza member if you have tattoos. Is that true?
You got like a little.
So if you're a foreigner, I think they all know now that, like, or most people anyway, know that foreigners normally have, like, a more actual tattoo culture. If you are an Asian person and you have tattoos, I think that's where people might think you were Yakuza. Yeah.
What if you have like a little pony where people think you're dangerous? Like if you have like a little pony tattoo, like yeah.
Oh shit! I think people would just think you're kind of funny and eccentric more than dangerous. If it was just
Like
funny.
that
If it was
guy-
like a My Little Pony tattoo.
Yeah. Like that guy's a
Badass, yeah.
That comes from the Pony Clan, man. Go on, fuck through.
Rainbow Dash.
Rainbow Dash.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
No, like No, man, that guy's got like, you see that tattoo? He has like a double S rank bounty.
Could you imagine if it read like a Yakuza? Yeah, could you imagine a Yakuza guy with like, the dragon tattoos and smack dab in the middle is this like pastel colored like rainbow dash for My Little Pony tattoo? That'd be hella funny.
Maybe he just likes the show or something.
If he points to it, he's like, "This is my favorite one."
Yeah, I like Rainbow Dash.
Taste about it.
Just like rubs it gently. This one means a lot to me.
Brony
Like
Yakuza.
right next to his heart.
Wait, so
Oh no.
so it's Brony Yakuza? Is this what's going?
Brony Yakuza.
There's gotta be
That would
one
be
statistical. There's gotta be one out there.
I don't know how popular My Little Pony is over there. So that's kind of fairly new territory. I'm
What
not.
would be the Japanese equivalent of My Little Pony?
Hello Kitty?
Oh, probably Pretty Cure.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
My Little Pony is for like the little girl stuff, right? Pretty Cure, like all the little girls over there are into that.
Oh, man,
I feel weird because I actually watch Pretty Cure, but like, yeah, okay.
You watch everything. Read everything.
Read and watch all the things.
All the things.
I do not watch Pretty Cure. My girls tried to watch it, but I don't watch it with them. So
I mean, like, I don't watch all of them. I just watched Heartcatch because everyone's like, it's the most badass magical girl show you'll ever watch. I'm like, okay, I have to see it.
But it is true. I remember watching like an episode of Pretty Cure and thinking like, wow, this is like, they're all in frilly costumes when they do their attacks. They're kind of hardcore.
Because like I'm also watching the original one. They don't use magical blasts. They just jump around and kick things. I'm like
Yeah.
yes, it's cool.
Yeah, the magical blast one. I was like, this is kind of hardcore for little girls or little kids in general. Whatever. I was not denouncing it. It's just, I guess that's the shift recently.
It's like
Although, like, what is it? Sailor Moon Crystal is also, like, they made it so it was more like Pretty Cure, right? Where it was kind of overpowered blasts and stuff instead of just normal glitter.
He's more glitter.
needs more glitter. Glitter Yakuza.
Oh, shit. I'm writing down all of these ideas, you guys, to draw. This is horrible.
Glitter Yakuza.
Brony Yakuza. Glitter Yakuza.
And the glitter Yakuza, man.
If boss is glitter, then we're all glitter. This is like Yakuza walk through the door and just fucking go into his pocket and throw some glitter in the air and walk through it fabulously. Oh,
Anytime he
And then
enters
do
the
a
room,
JoJo
there's like
pose
glitter
at the
just
end.
pops out.
That's all God. Yes. Like Giorno hair and stuff. Yes.
Oh no.
We're gangsters.
Gangstars.
Mark's coming out anytime soon?
I don't know, man.
Announced?
No. The only thing that has been announced of JoJo is they're gonna have a OVA of Rohan. That's it.
Hey, that's good enough for me.
That's it.
I didn't get to go to it, but I saw a bunch of photos from it. The last anime convention I went to, which was like 3 weeks ago, there was like a JoJo posing contest.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah, apparently there's a lot of people that went and I saw the photos. I was like, holy crap, that's some Michael Jackson stuff right there. Like, gravity-defying poses. They probably practice at home.
Yep. Wait, what was the prizes? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get to go to it. I was kind of going to other things during while it happens. Yeah, I did go to the guest dinner where you got to have dinner with the official guests of the convention.
Oh,
So
wow.
like the voice actors and then the animation directors. So I met and sat with the animation director for Cowboy Bebop and Brotherhood, Fullmetal Alchemist, and like I was after my initial 15 minutes of freaking out with him, then I actually asked him the questions that I wanted to ask him. I asked him what is his favorite fight scene that he got to direct for Brotherhood, and he said the one on the stairs. Do you remember?
On the stairs.
The battle secrets on the stairs he was talking about.
Wait, who's fighting?
So I was hoping that I would go home and like
Bradley?
research which one, because I didn't want to say like which would that happen, like or whatever.
That's super vague.
When Bradley
Yeah,
was on the stairs.
he was talking about like, oh, I really liked the one on the stairs, and he said that he liked all of the art direction in that one. And then I asked him what was his influence, for coming up with that one, and he was just straight up like, well, so how it works is that you have the senior animators, right, and then you have a lot of the up and coming animators there, and basically how you move up in the animation industry is you keep submitting all of these, what do you call it, storyboards for the key animation stuff, and so whoever has the best idea, his job is just to go and pick it, whoever picked like the best fight sequence. So he said, unfortunately, like that wasn't his own creation. He just, did that. And then I also asked him how old was he when he realized he wanted to be an animator, and he said at the age of 12. And then he actually did. In Japan, if you choose to work instead of go to high school, you can legally do that. And so he wanted to do that after he was done with junior high. He just wanted to go straight and work for the animation industry, but his parents had their heart set with having him go to university. So he compromised with them, and he finished high school. And as soon as he finished high school, he submitted a portfolio to an animation studio, and they took him. And then that's when his parents were like, oh, I guess he's serious about this, and so they let him. And then the other tidbit that happened was Micnogna came and started talking to him in the middle of dinner, and he told him, like, I was really worried about what would happen when I heard they were doing Brotherhood, but when I actually saw it and I was voice acting for it, like, I thought you did a really great job and made it better, and I'm so happy that you didn't ruin it. And the guy was like, oh, thank you so much. But Irie said, like, oh, yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I tried my best, and we tried our best to stay true to the original source. He said that the original mangaka used to meet up with them before they produced Brotherhood, and they had a lot of meetings beforehand. And he said that it took probably 6 months to a year to gain a trusting relationship with her, to where he was just like, don't worry, we're not gonna screw it up, or we're not gonna deviate from your source material. And he said, fortunately, there's so much good stuff in the source material already that he never felt a need to deviate very far from it or whatever. And he said at first, they would have a meeting every week to discuss what went down on the episodes that aired. But then over time, it just went to sending an email once or twice a year, especially when she felt like he did a really good job with some scenes. So he said as soon as he built up that trust, then it was easier to not have as much meetings with her, because she was convinced that they were going to go about it the right way. So it's pretty cool.
I think the scene he might be referring to is the fight scene with the tank, since he is going up some stairs. The other option I could think of is this one, even though it's more like going up a ladder, or maybe it is a stair, I don't know. This one right here.
He said kaidan, and so I was speaking with him in Japanese. Kaidan is stairs, but I mean, maybe it was ladder, I don't know.
Or maybe there was no stair fight scene.
Or maybe on a balcony or something, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe he was testing me. I don't know, he didn't seem like he was testing me, though.
Well, the third option
he was
would
driving
be...
while he was talking to me.
The Bradley thing happened first on the stairs, and then they went up to a rooftop.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe, I think maybe it was that one then.
Well, there's a third,
the one with King Bradley,
but there's a third one, though.
What's your favorite One Piece fight? The one on the boat.
So that was, okay, I will openly admit that was one of the first questions that I asked, and that was probably during the time I was internally freaking out, because I was sitting right next to him.
Oh, yeah.
And I had him literally all to myself, because everybody else refused to sit next to him because they were intimidated. I was the only one sitting at his table. I don't know why nobody else wanted to sit at his table.
That Bradley fight scene was absolutely amazing, though.
Well, the third one I could think of is King Bradley versus Reed during the balcony when he's attacking his house. Maybe that one, I don't know. So, assuming it's King Bradley that's in the fight, I don't even know that much.
But rest in peace to the King Bradley's voice actor.
Yeah, Ed Blaylock.
Oh, R.I.P.
He passed away. Sorry.
So
How did he?
are we gonna keep at this for a while, or like the conversation are we done for the whole race thing?
Oh yeah, I think everyone had their piece to say about that.
Yeah.
Sorry if I talk too much, you guys.
No, it's fine because you're bringing up the points.
Nice.
It's an easy, fun conversation that has no chance to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Fucking liberals.
Those fucking millennials.
What about us who find ourselves in the middle? Where do we go? What if we just don't say anything? I think that's what it is. We're just like meh.
I'll create the first Hispanic anime superhero character ever. He'll be loved by everybody.
Hey, wasn't there the main character in Rogue One like a Hispanic person?
Pop-Hole?
Wait, who?
Oh, yeah, right? Was it Pop?
See, nobody even knows. I don't even know.
No, Rogue One, yeah, the actor, Diego Luna. So.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if his character was supposed to be Hispanic.
He was
I
I don't
haven't seen
care.
Rogue One. I don't care if you guys spoil some stuff or whatever, but like I heard that, yeah, didn't he keep his like Mexican accent or something for the movie? Like they didn't ask him to say that.
He sort of had an accent, you know.
Yeah.
I saw it. You know, from Space Mexico.
Oh, okay, Space
Space Mexico.
Space Mexico. Oh, man.
Yeah. Over here, we don't have Speedy Gonzalez. We have Space Gonzalez.
Space.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, instead of arriba, he says espacio, espacio, espacio.
Do you speak Spanish, Hero? You do, yeah.
Yes, I am Hispanic. Gosh, oh my god.
Well, I'm just wondering because I'm Hispanic. Like, so my Hispanic friends don't speak Spanish.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
Spanish at all.
Wait, I understand a little bit. My dad speaks fluent Spanish and it comes from Argentina, so
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah.
so I understand quite a bit. He's always got a soccer game on or something on. I'm listening.
Shinobu speaks Spanish, but
Yeah.
he's not.
Yeah, the third part of every soccer game is like goal, goal, goal.
Oh, speaking of which, during the Super Bowl, I went to my best friend's house, and they aired the entire Super Bowl from the Japanese broadcast, so it had Japanese announcers. They did not, you can tell, like, they did not have people who were that familiar with American football because they got, like, two comedians, and then also a professor from a university to, like, commentate. And they ended up doing that whole goal during the Super Bowl because they didn't know what else to say when there was a goal. But I thought that was hilarious.
They could do like a quick Google search on like football commentary.
Well, they
But
probably could.
I think they just didn't care as much. I know that it's becoming more popular, but maybe not popular enough for them to want to do that because it was like the broadcast was around 3 a.m. in Japan. Right? So they probably thought, like, meh, no one's gonna watch this anyway, so.
I will say that when there was a World Baseball Classic going on, I actually was watching online one of the games for Team Japan, and like watching a baseball Japanese like broadcast, it was actually better, I would say, than most of the American broadcasts. As a baseball fan, it's just so much energy into it. The fans were like going crazy. They were singing songs and shit for everyone. Like, you normally watch baseball, it's kind of like more like laid back, leisurely kind of thing here. But in Japan, at least during the classic games that I watched, like the entire stadium was singing songs for every single person that came up to bat. They're just loud the entire time. The broadcasters were going nuts and going crazy, and it was kind of different. I liked it a lot, actually. Surprising.
Yeah, baseball and soccer are like one of the major sports over there. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I guess we should say our goodbyes then.
Alright.
Yeah. So,
Adios.
oh, okay.
Guys?
And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To say something in Spanish, but fucking did it before me.
Adios.
So are you done recording then?